Because what gives people feelings of power? Money, status, and custom keyboard shortcuts. BetterTouchTool is an app that allows you to create custom shortcuts and gestures for your Mac, and it's so customizable. That's what makes it so powerful. You can even customize the degree of sensitivity of your trackpad and exactly with how much pressure you're gonna tap, or the distance between your fingers when you're doing a 3-finger gesture. And that's great, but I think for someone who literally just downloaded BetterTouchTool and just started, I don't think we're thinking of how much pressure do I want to set that setting. I don't know the distance between my fingers when I'm doing a 2-finger gesture versus a 4-finger gesture. And so I think it can be kind of overwhelming, and if you aren't ready to set those settings, now the gesture may not work well. It's kind of discouraging and it feels like BetterTouchTool doesn't work. So I thought it would be good to make a video with 5 keyboard shortcuts and gestures that are really easy to implement right out of the box, doesn't take a lot of setup, and generally even beginners will have success with it and can start using it right away, and then kind of like get the ball rolling. The first gesture I want to show you is a custom gesture to adjust the volume. Let's say you're watching a video, you don't actually have to like break eye contact, look away from the video and down at the keyboard or the touch bar and find the volume controls. If you do online research on BetterTouchTool, this is a very popular gesture to implement. What everyone wants you to do is create a gesture similar to the actual motion of adjusting a volume knob in real life, as if you were in your car or like using a stereo. Now, this is really popular, but this never worked for me. And I just think if you have fingers that are maybe like a little bit on the long side, or if you're a girl and you have nails, my nails are not long, but just like any length of nail, this gesture doesn't work. And I wish more, like, why is no one talking about this? This doesn't work. A physical volume knob has depth. And so your fingers now can be placed on that. But on a trackpad, the trackpad is flat. So it's awkward. It's awkward and it doesn't work. Rant over, okay? It's just like so hurtful when something is so hyped up and then when you try it out, it doesn't work. So my alternative is to do the TipTap. This finger goes down, holds it, and then the next finger comes down and taps. When you're wanting to adjust the volume, you never really adjust just like one up or one down. You often will go like doo, 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 like a few steps up. So then that's gonna look like this. Down, you're gonna hold it, and then doo, 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 doo. This looks weird, but I promise you, once you implement it, it feels amazing. Okay, it's gonna be a really useful gesture for you. So whenever we're talking about BetterTouchTool, any custom keyboard shortcuts, gestures that you implement, generally the term that's used is called this as a preset. When we're talking about presets, we're going to talk about the trigger and then the action. So in this case, the trigger is going to be the TipTap and the action will be volume up. There are options to adjust the sensitivity of how hard you tap your fingers and also your finger distance. But don't worry, I found that it's not really necessary to adjust these numbers for it to work. However, I'm going to throw on the screen right now the exact numbers that I use for mine, just in case you want to try that out. So the next thing that you can implement is a text expander. A really popular use case for this would be email. So I have multiple email accounts and I have one that's specifically for all things money related. So Venmo, PayPal, my bank accounts, etc. But it's really long. It's like Quinn Lee and all things money related at gmail.com, which is such a pain to type in anytime I'm trying to log in. So I've created a text expander where the trigger is I type in money with an extra Y, and that will expand into my email address. And I follow that convention with actually all my email addresses. So for example, my UCLA email, the trigger for that, I just put in UCLA with an extra A at the end, and that will expand to my UCLA email. Another use case for this would be if you find yourself actually sending a lot of the same types of emails over and over. So let's pretend I'm like a hotshot YouTuber and I've hired someone to manage all of my collaborations. Every time a brand or another influencer reaches out to me, they email me to say like, hey, we should collaborate. So I'm going to reply to them by CCing the person that I hired. And I probably always say like, thank you for reaching out. Mark is the person who handles all my collaborations. He's going to take it from here and can give you specific details on next steps. So following the convention, I would probably type in Mark with an extra K and it will expand to the email. Apple does have their own text expander. It's included in all Macs, but it doesn't work consistently across all apps. So that's why I prefer the BetterTouchTool. Okay, the next preset I want to talk about is something I use all the time. It's super useful and it's the ability to quickly snap windows to the left half or right half of the screen. When you download BetterTouchTool, it will automatically give you the ability to drag a window. It'll automatically snap it to the left half. On top of that though, I implement a custom gesture that is a 4-finger gesture. And when I use 4 fingers and I swipe the current window that I'm on to the left, now it'll snap left. Swipe with 4 fingers to the right, it'll snap right. Being able to drag and snap, that was already great, but this is even faster and like more convenient, and it's like so satisfying. So for this to work, you'll need to disable Apple's ability to drag with 3 fingers. You gotta hop over and use the double tap and drag. I used to love my 3-finger drag. I had to switch over to this and I was like kind of bummed out, but honestly, just disable that option and it opens up a world of possibility in BetterTouchTool for any other gestures that you want to use. In the moment right now, it might be kind of like bummed that you've got to like rewire your drag, but I think it's worth it. If you wanted the exact 5 presets that I'm talking about in this video, I have them on my blog, totally free. It's available just for you to download so that you can get started with BetterTouchTool and your amazing BetterTouchTool journey of customizing your Mac and becoming a productivity wizard. The link to download is in the description box of the Okay, preset number 4 that is going to be super easy to implement right out of the box, and that's going to be a keyboard shortcut for opening an app that you find yourself opening up regularly, frequently. So for me, that would be 2 apps. My email, so I use Superhuman for email, and my note-taking organization app, and that's AmpleNote. I open up the window for these 2 apps. It must be at least 10 to 20 times a day. I'm working on Chrome, or I'm like text messaging with someone in iMessage, and I need a reference an email. I need to look for an email, or I need to take a note down. So I'm constantly opening up email and AmpleNote. And so I just decided Command Option S was going to be open Superhuman. And it's so much better than constantly, like swiping to bring up the dock and then click on the Superhuman icon or the launch pad or looking in the folder of applications. So the next preset that's going to be super useful and really easy to implement right out of the box is going to be close the current window, but don't quit. This is basically a trackpad custom gesture that does exactly what Command W does. So if I'm in my email app, Command W would close the app. But if I'm in Chrome and I've got multiple tabs open, Command W doesn't close Chrome. It just closes the tab that I'm in. So this gesture is going to work the exact same way. It's helpful because sometimes you're typing and Command W is convenient to do, but sometimes you're browsing. And so your hand's not on the keyboard, your hand's on the trackpad. And I don't want to have to move my hand. That's like productivity 101. Minimize the amount of times you're moving your hands and breaking that workflow. Keyboard to trackpad to looking away from the screen to looking down at the keyboard. Minimize the switches. I will say, so with this particular preset, there's like a tiny fraction of a millisecond of lag. Practice it a couple of times and then you kind of start seeing the rhythm of BetterTouchTool. It's like, oh, okay, like I do it and then it takes like a millisecond and then it closes. And so you're not mistakenly thinking like, oh, it doesn't work. Is this a theme? Is this like a problem of mine? Being impatient and then just throwing things away when I feel like they don't work. That's why I made this video, okay? And that's why I made the presets available to download. I'm like trying to set you guys up for success. All right, hope this was helpful. Thanks, bye.